All right, folks, welcome to another great podcast from the Den of the Bear Clan. This podcast is going to be called Roni On The Run. Episode 1 is going to be called Millennial Madness. So this podcast is going to be focused on the millennial generation and how they're trying to figure out what the heck life is supposed to be like and just how they're going to learn to cope and deal with it all. My special podcast guest today, and hopefully every day, is just such an individual who is smack dab in the middle of this whole, we'll call it crisis that we call life, okay? She's 27 years old and a mother of 3. And like all of us, she's trying to figure out the best possible way to understand how she feels about everything, how she deals with everything, and how she can raise her 5-year-old or 2-year-old and her newborn baby in these deeply interesting times. And I know there's other words I could use for these times, but that's what it is. She's also new to podcasting. So this is going to be like, we're going to be breaking a lot of eggshells, so to speak, maybe a lot of glasses, who knows, whatever gets thrown around, who knows. So this will certainly be a growing thing for her as she gets into the flow of what being in a podcast is like. So everyone, I'd like to welcome to the other microphone, Roni Cherie. Roni, go ahead and say hello to everyone and just introduce yourself to them.
Hello.
Woohoo! Success! We're done.
My first podcast ever.
Yep.
I am Roni Cherie. I have 3 babies. And as you've said, I'm 27. Today, I am a stay-at-home mom since I just had my little boy.
Go ahead and give everyone the names of your kids because they're awesome.
Melody, she's 5. That is my calm child. Melody Palacios. And then there's Alina. She is my chaotic tornado.
Terrible tour.
Doesn't want to listen to anything, child.
We've all had those. And how about your...
And finally, I've had my first son, Cassian, and he is 5 months.
Awesome.
I just love him.
Yeah. And by the way, in case none of you know this, Cassian is actually a Star Wars character name. Look it up on Rogue One movie.
The pilot in Rogue One.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I need to say.
Gotta have a cool name.
Okay. So Roni has actually agreed to do this podcast with me, but it's actually not with me. It's with her for her. We're in search of some answers to those life questions that always come up with everybody, but I'm not going to make it in general terms. We're going to work together through my program, Cognitive Awareness with a Touch of God. Don't get too freaked out by the God part. It's just part of learning to heal. We have to take steps, and sometimes we need sources or resources beyond human life. So we're going to work together on this, and this program kind of blends in several aspects of healing through life, not only as a struggling mother like Roni is at such a young age, 27, 3 kids, and whatever else life is bringing to her. Maybe we're going to be sharing some serious laughter as well, like we've already been. I mean, you guys should see her face. It's so red, it's not funny. But anyway, past that.
Beet red.
Beet red. But most likely, we're also going to be sharing some hard emotions and maybe some tears along the way. I mean, the whole point of healing is to get through our emotional struggles, to make sure that our thoughts become healthier, and to make sure that we can step through life with our best foot forward and not worry about stumbles and struggles, but just to know that we can get through them. So the goal of this podcast, in my perspective, the goal of this podcast is to help all the listeners in possibly understanding that even though life seems to be so difficult and there's a ton of anger and anxiety and hate and discord and seems to be a lot of separation going on, it's us versus them. We're here to actually make sure that our life no longer brings us to the darkness and the ugliness. And that with time, effort, and serious amounts of patience, we can actually become millennial masters. Maybe, right? So, Roni, are you ready?
Oh, my goodness.
Excellent. Great answer. That's what I want.
As ready as I can be.
That's excellent. That's perfect, right? I'm simply going to ask you some questions. I've got a bunch of questions that I'm going to ask, and we're going to kind of take it from there. I'm not going to necessarily focus on the questions. What I'm going to do is I'm opening this up. I'm going to ask a question. You're going to give an answer, and then I might ask 5 other questions off of that. Or I might just say, all right, cool, good enough. We'll move on to the next. All I want you to do is be as honest as you possibly can, because there might be somebody on the other end of this microphone listening in to us talk and going through something like you, but maybe even harder than what you're going through, that they would love to be able to hear how you're going to get through something, or how you have gotten through something, or how I can help you get through something. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So when we do this, we're sharing your growth with all the listeners. And those people might be able to heal themselves through you. How freaking cool is that?
I'm sweating a little.
Yeah. Okay, my expectation is that we get to make this podcast your avenue of expression. And more importantly, somewhere for you to be heard. Because I know a lot of listeners, and I know this for a fact, probably a majority of people, 60 to 70% of humans, don't believe that in their lives they're being heard the way they want to be. So this is going to help us understand where that problem is, where it lies, and how we can kind of get past it or heal from it. So that it isn't necessarily about us being heard, it's about us being good and being good people, so that our actions show everybody we don't need to be heard as much as we think. Okay?
I'm always complaining about people not listening to me. Mm-hmm. And now I'm like, I don't know if I want anybody to listen.
I don't think I want everyone to listen.
I'm a little scared now.
No, it's going to unfold. Everything will just become a natural unfolding. You're going to get used to this. You're going to be used to that microphone in front of you, and you're going to be used to me asking questions and us going through some stuff, because that's the way it's going to unfold. So, are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right. And understand that even though I have several questions to ask you, we may very well start somewhere, but just end up going in a different tangent. Don't sweat it. It isn't any big deal, because I have the power.
I'm already sweating.
You're already sweating. That's okay. I have the power of what's called editing. So we'll make this thing work out right. So you ready?
Oh my God.
Ready? All right. So for everybody's benefit, as well as mine and yours, of course, is why exactly are you here talking to me right now on this podcast? And more importantly, tell the listeners, why are you talking to them?
So that maybe I can help other people who can relate to the chaos in my life. Or, I don't know, even the good things.
Right? Maybe they can see that even through all the darkness and struggles you have, that there's still bright lights. I mean, come on, you got 3 insanely gorgeous, beautiful, heart-loving kids. Amazing. I mean, Cassian doesn't know how to talk, but that boy feels. Boy, does he ever feel. So in that, what you just said, if you can have somebody else gain from your discussions, it's really important that you understand that how we progress through this. I don't want it to be like, hey, everybody else needs you to heal. We're going to go at your pace to complete whatever we need to complete. And people get to really see what kind of effort and time it takes from somebody like you in a situation maybe worse than theirs, or similar to theirs, or not as difficult as theirs. So they'll be able to kind of come through it and walk through it as well. Kind of cool?
Yes.
So your expectation is that you're going to learn something, you're going to start growing through this podcast, and maybe become that thing that you're looking to aspire to be.
I think we all need a little bit of help.
Oh, heck yes. We do. Yeah, we definitely do. All right, so I'll start with a pretty tough one. Not a lot of people can actually come up with an answer for this. If you were to pick one thing, and this is tough, one thing in your life right now, at this moment, that seems to be the absolute hardest thing to accomplish, what would it be and why? Remember, one thing. I know there might be like 7,000.
Being a mother.
Being a mother?
Yeah. That's absolutely the hardest thing.
How come?
Being a good mother.
Ooh.
Because you never know if you're being a good mom.
But okay, so define what being a good mom looks like.
I always picture it from like the movies.
Like all those shows or movies
yeah.
that depict a happy
like the Christmas
family.
movies.
Yeah.
Everybody's just together and the mom is so nice and sweet to her kids and they're just listen and pick up their toys when they're supposed to and go to bed on time and they get tucked in.
Right.
But
get a story read to them.
In reality.
Yeah. What's reality?
It's chaotic.
Yeah.
Kids don't listen.
Right.
They don't go to bed on time.
Nope.
They don't eat their food.
No.
It ends up on the floor everywhere, screaming, hitting each other.
So I got a question for you. Do you think that's common?
Absolutely.
Your experiences are common?
Yeah.
And the movies are more a dream?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just hard that it sometimes can't be halfway to that.
Somewhere in the middle, no happy medium?
Somewhere in the middle. I don't think there's really, you can't be in the middle.
Well, here's the funny thing about life. When we get into struggles, right, one of the things that we tend to do as humans is we tend to overplay something, either underplay it too much or overplay it too much. We call that the all or nothing. It's always hard. It's always going to suck. It's always a struggle. I can't seem to get my time. Or we underplay it, like there's a lot of people out there that when their kid stubs their toe, we go, oh yeah, just suck it up and get over it. That's underplaying a potentially broken toe. So when you're saying it, there's no middle. It's hard to find the middle. That's because in your current situation, you're reacting to things in the all or nothing sort of way. It's like, it's either insane or it will be completely empty and void. So that middle has to be found. So part of our job in this neat little podcast is to get you to recognize what the middle is going to look like. So without worrying about the details, what do you think between the movie moms and movie families and your reality? What do you think would be a happy scenario maybe in the middle of all of that mush?
A happy scenario? Like
happy medium. If you could imagine a family that's kind of struggling but kind of loving and kind of movie-ish but kind of Ronnie-ish.
I mean, well, a good scenario would be me with their father, like in the movies when the parents are together and they help with the kids. I mean, I wish that I had that little bit of help, but it's me and the kids. And
right.
Yeah, like if me and their dad could go to the park and be together, it would help, me have a little bit of time with maybe my older daughter and he could help with the younger ones. And that would help me a lot just because I know my older one wants my attention and she doesn't get as much because I have the little ones and middle one is middle one. So she's like constantly wanting my attention, but it's just hard. So
I'm going to ask you a hard question because I think the listeners at this moment are going to be like chomping at the bit to find out. So tell us about the kid's father.
Him and I are not together. We don't really see eye to eye on a lot of things. I wish that we did sometimes because it would help, but I think it's better that way because when we were together, it's just a little too toxic for both of us.
Right.
We get on each other's nerves. We can't seem to find a middle ground on parenting styles.
So how was it? I mean, obviously relationships start somewhere, they grow, and they either go or they don't. So yours is in the somewhere on the don't side, but kind of give everybody an idea as to how this thing came together between you and him. You don't have to get into the details. Just say, okay, X years ago, A, B, and C. And
so like 6.5 maybe years ago, we met in California and I ended up pregnant maybe within 3 months.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's
there
a good
you go.
Start to a healthy relationship.
3 months in, I was pregnant and we were living in a really bad situation in a car, actually, homeless. And I did not want to raise children in the area that we were in, especially obviously living in a car. So that's when I asked my mom if we could come move to Arizona and stay with her so that we could raise babies.
Yeah.
And eventually we came here, and within maybe the first month of being here, I had a miscarriage. And then maybe within a few weeks after that, I ended up pregnant again and had Melody.
Right.
And then...
How was it while you were here? You're with mom, you're in an environment.
I mean, it was already bad in California
Yeah.
before we moved here.
Okay.
We were already fighting every single day. I had actually left from California here to get a job maybe for 2 weeks just to have a little bit of money to go back.
Right.
And we were constantly just fighting. There would be a lot of moments where he would leave me on the side of the road, or I'd be crying and screaming at him, or
Right.
we just didn't really get along.
Yeah.
And I mean, that should have been a red flag, but I had feelings for him and really cared.
Right. So we can dig into this one right now because why not? We're here. So here you are with a man in your life that you apparently had some sort of connection with, enough to where you decided that getting pregnant was okay. We get that. Okay.
Butterflies.
Right? So we get that. That has to be a common struggle among girls, women in their early 20s, early teens, mid-teens, late teens, all of that. They find something and they see this, I don't know, dream or the television movie thing.
Charming.
The charm.
The charm.
Stupid men.
The charm and butterflies.
Okay.
Everything else is...
Yeah. So
Can't see it.
you chose to sacrifice some happiness right out of the gate to be with this man. But because you guys butt heads, it's like, yeah, guess what? There's a little bit on Ronnie, a little bit on him, a little bit on Ronnie, a little bit on him, okay?
That's for sure.
So we get into a situation where you're now in a place where you're at least close to family, your family, and you have a good support system. And then how did it go from there?
When we were in Arizona?
Yeah.
Okay, so we ended up in Arizona, and it was still bad. We still fought, kicked holes in walls.
Both of you?
There was a few times.
Thank you for being honest.
Maybe I threw a water bottle or two.
Okay.
Then ended up pregnant with Melody, of course, and I think it really just went downhill after that.
Yeah.
Being pregnant with Melody, I mean, it just got worse.
So how did that unfold? How did it get worse? What were the things? Was it just because the importance of now you have to raise a child?
I feel like he felt trapped.
Oh, like you trapped him?
Like he moved to a different state, and I was pregnant, and he didn't have any friends or family. So I feel like he felt like it was my fault and took out his anger on me.
Okay.
And then I would just get upset and kind of backfire.
And it just boils up more.
Exactly. It just kind of blew up.
Now, in your conversation that you just had with me right there, you said you felt he did this or he might have felt this or have you talked to him about those dark times?
Oh, there have been times where he's thrown it in my face. Like, you've done this. I wasted my life on you, and I never should have.
Okay.
I should have just stayed in California with my mom and my sister, and I had all my friends, and I would have never been here, stuck, lonely, with nobody.
Yeah, that's happened a few million times in the last 100 or so years in this country. Whether it's the guy or girl, doesn't make a difference. When somebody leaves their quote-unquote home to go with somebody somewhere, unless they are excited like beyond belief, there's a tendency that there's a little bit of resentment somewhere down the road.
There was a lot.
I was going to say, it depends on the individual as to how much resentment they're going to build. So he was using it kind of as a weapon, right?
Yeah.
Your fault, it's because of you, it's because of you. How was that bringing you into an emotional state? How were your feelings? If he was throwing those daggers at you, how did it make you feel when he would say something like that?
I felt hurt, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, coming from somebody who's supposed to be my child's father, like soon, it just kind of hurt.
Let down? Disappointed?
Yeah, I was very let down and disappointed. I felt like I should have been something more important to him, considering I was carrying our child, and he decided to move to Arizona with me. I didn't force him.
Right.
I could have done it by myself from the beginning.
Right.
But that's what he wanted. But anyway, I felt kind of upset that I was going through it again. Like being talked down to again.
Yeah.
It's kind of like just disappointed.
Yeah.
Because he was someone that I thought was like going to be someone great in my life.
It appeared
even though it was bad at first. There was still that thought.
Yeah. So moving forward a little bit, so here comes Melody, you got a baby, all of a sudden, did it change the relationship at all? Was there a light at the end of the tunnel, or did it just kind of keep descending? I mean, how did it go?
After Melody, it was okay, but not really. I mean, it was better than maybe when I was pregnant.
Okay.
There was no more like maybe being as much abusive, but...
How did he take his daughter?
Well, at first it was denial.
Yeah.
She's not mine.
Okay. The whole blame it on you. Blame it on
She's
you,
probably not even mine, so I don't have to have responsibility.
But what do you think changed it? What do you think was a tool that changed it to make him be more of a father to his daughter?
I don't think he really was at first. It was all kind of me for the first 15 months.
Yeah.
But the whole like cheating after I had her was ridiculously hard. And
he was unfaithful?
Yeah, like multiple times.
Yeah.
So that's when I just started feeling less and less loved or cared about and felt kind of on my own already. And it was only like a year into it. Yeah.
All right. So then turning the clock forward a little bit, in between daughter 1 and daughter 2, how did that relationship continue?
So after Melody, and I got a job in Uptown working as a barista. Everything was okay, I guess you'd say. Everything was less bad. And we started kind of getting along a little bit more. We had, Melody's first birthday party or something. So there's that one night when I was sleeping in the room and he decided to go through my phone and found out that I had an Instagram that I posted pictures of our daughter on. I wanted to keep my family updated with pictures of my kid. He found out I had Instagram and decided that he was going to move to California again and left us, me and Melody, and told his mom to come pick him up. She came all the way from California, picked him up, and he left for 3 months. Mm-hmm. We were still talking during that time.
Right.
But then I went back to California to go visit him, quote unquote visit. I still had hope.
Yes.
That we were maybe going to work things out because Melody was only a year and a half, maybe less than a year and a half. And so when I went back on my trip, we kind of maybe tried to work on it.
Tried working on rekindling whatever might have been there.
Yeah, even though there wasn't much. But
in your dream?
I had hopes.
Yeah.
I just wanted my family together, like those Christmas movies.
Absolutely.
So
we're going to be getting into the depth behind that, by the way. Folks, in case you don't, you're not going to understand where this is going. Ultimately, there's a lot of deeper issues than what you're hearing right now. There's a lot of deeper issues that Roni is going through and experiencing inside her that she can't express yet because she believes that she doesn't have a skill set to express it, deal with it, cope with it, and heal from it. So this is just the start. This is only a start, giving you guys an idea as to Roni and her path that she's on. The path that she took, the choices she made, decisions she made to get her to where she is now. And then maybe you guys will be able to see, holy mackerel, what a transformation. Because that's my goal with her on this. This is what I told her a week ago, that God put me here for this. So.
He is right. I do have a lot of deep things that I need to get to the root of.
And we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. So now I'm going to bring it back to that scenario. In the time that you were alone with Melody, living in Arizona while he was in California, how was your relationship with Melody? And how were you as like an everyday behavioral thing? Did you have anxieties, or was it a calm release? What was it like being on your own?
I feel like with me and Melody, only just us, or even when he was here before he left, me and Melody, we had such a good relationship, and I feel like that's when I was like the best mom that I could have been. Was when it was just me and her. Like I had so much more time to focus on her, and she was like my little best friend. Yeah. I didn't feel stressed or angry or wanted to yell or lash out at anything that she did.
Right.
I felt like, oh, she's a kid. Like, let her be a kid.
Yeah.
And he was more of like the strict one, like kind of more on the irritated side.
When she does something cute that you see, he's seeing it as not so cute.
He's seeing it as like, why are you letting her do that? Why did she spill water? Why? And I'm just like, it's okay. It's just water. But, you know, you have more kids and then you...
and then everything goes out the window.
Now you understand why.
Okay. So California Try came and went, or what happened next?
Okay, so that's where I was getting at. California was good. We got along really well. And then we got along so well that he decided that he was going to come back with me to Arizona. Yeah. So me and my grandpa took a little journey back to California, picked him up, took him back here. I got an apartment in VOC. And then within maybe a few weeks, I was pregnant again with Alina. And that was like the best pregnancy. But
how did that, because you're doing a lot of giggling here, and I know exactly where the emotion is. It's not like you're happy giggling.
I'm mad.
Right.
I'm a little upset thinking about it, but I always giggle about it because I don't like to be mad.
Right. That's how you show your emotion.
Yeah.
You're hiding it through a giggle, which people think you're laughing, when in fact I can't believe that happened.
Yeah. I'm a little upset.
So we move into, all right, here you are, baby number 2. How does the relationship go from there?
Baby number 2 was good. I feel like that was the better part of our relationship was when I was pregnant with Alina. Okay. It's after Alina that things started getting worse.
Well, let's stick with the pregnancy part. What was it that happened during it that kind of created a better environment?
I'm not really sure. I feel like the fact that we had our own place and we were out of my mom's, which he did not like. He didn't like being at my mom's house.
Right, because of a man that's taken away from his mom in a different state, away and alone, had to go and live with his girlfriend's mother. Yeah. That's tough.
It is.
Yeah.
And I give him props for it. I mean, he did give up a lot to try to be a family. Yeah. Obviously, he still has like his own problems, but he did try at first.
Okay. So here comes Alina, the pregnancy. You're still pregnant. The relationship's starting to get
better.
in your own
We were getting
place?
along. We had our own place. We both were working. I mean, I was working the whole entire pregnancy, and he worked the whole time too. So it was really good that we had our separate times.
Separate incomes, but
Yeah,
separate
incomes, and we had our space. Like, I had my adult conversations at work, and he had his. So we weren't stuck together all the time like we were in the car or
outlets.
at my mom's.
People got to have outlets.
Yeah, it was good for us.
Okay.
So everything was going pretty well.
Yep.
Then I had Alina.
You say that like a question mark.
I mean,
No, you had Alina. And
what
then,
else about my pregnancy can I say?
No, that's perfectly fine. Because we're kind of sticking on to a relationship building understanding so that people can see how your life came with the choices you made and how it kind of wraps around to today. So, all right. So now Alina comes.
I'm remembering some of this.
Yep.
Because it's been a while.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Towards the
That's not
end
good,
of
dear.
my
That's not
pregnancy, it was getting bad. That's when it started getting bad. Not after I had Alina, but towards the end of my pregnancy. Because I remember the last 2 weeks of my pregnancy, we were fighting a lot. He was breaking more of my stuff. I was getting irritated at him, being at work long hours, or why can't he come and help me? Why couldn't he be there for me when I needed him? I was obviously huge pregnant and needed support, and I felt like he wasn't there. And he would get upset when I would nag or whatever. Towards the end of my pregnancy, we got into a really big fight, and he called the cops on me.
Yep.
Like the ambulance came or whatever, checked me because I felt like I was going to go into labor.
Right.
But that night I decided to leave for like a week. I left for
just for a break.
Yeah, a little break, and then stayed with my mom. Yep. And that's when I went into labor, was at Mom's house. Yep. And so lovely Bear and my mom went with me to actually raced me to the hospital. Yep. And I had Alina with my mom, basically. Yeah. Yep. My mom helped me get through my labor, and I cut my own cord and decided to not put him on the birth certificate because I felt like, I don't know, I just felt like things were really getting bad. Yeah.
And that you believed that since it wasn't his ideal situation to be in the last 2 weeks, he was kind of saying, yeah, well, screw that. I don't want nothing of that. You made a decision to make sure that he wasn't part of it.
Yeah. I feel like since he didn't want to be a part of it or didn't make it seem like he wanted to be, I chose to not let him be.
Right.
And
now let's pull it back about 3 weeks. So before Alina is born, things start getting tough. Why do you think, and we don't know. I mean, maybe you do because he's talked to you about it, but if someone talks to you in anger, you don't really get the truth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So have you ever talked to him about those weeks leading up to it as to why he started getting more tense and how your relationship broke apart more intensely for those weeks?
I'm not really sure, like, why it happened.
Okay.
Because it's always been so up and down.
Yeah.
Like, there's never really been a reason. It's like little things. Like, I'll get upset that he didn't come home at 9:30 when he gets off at 9 and comes home at 11 instead. Right. So my mind goes to, oh, you've already been unfaithful. Maybe you're being unfaithful again. Right. And then I ask or question him, and the question itself makes him upset. Right. So then that escalates into us just getting into a fight, and it'll just start happening, like, daily or every other day. I'm like, I want to leave. Instead of sitting and fighting, I'm like the type to leave, and he gets upset about me leaving. He wants me to communicate, and I run.
Fight or flight.
Yeah,
that's the
I run.
key phrase right there. Fight or flight. The problem is that we believe we have to fight or we have to flight. We don't find that happy medium. Yeah. Remember, like the halfway between a movie and your reality, there's a happy medium. Okay.
I also feel like we have fought so much in front of Melody that I didn't want to continue fighting in front of Alina. I don't want to traumatize my kids anymore than I already have, I feel like.
So we're going to move the clock a little bit further forward. And then what happens? So after Alina's born, we start progressing into now you have 2 kids. Now you're trying to figure out 2 kids.
Okay, so 2 kids was actually pretty cool. Like, Alina was just the cutest little thing ever. And I feel like I was so in love with Alina, and Rudy was working so much that everything was, like, good because we weren't really around each other as much. Mm-hmm. But it was cool. Like, I felt more like a family. Right. And he would get home from work, and I wasn't working then. So we just got along. Okay. I obviously did more of the mom things and was with the kids more, and he did his little gaming or whatever.
Video game.
Which also upset me, but...
Yeah, we'll get there eventually.
So yeah, everything was cool with 2 kids until March of 2019.
Okay.
That's when I feel like he was breaking more things again, getting more angry.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I feel like I just had enough. That was like the breaking point. Like I was on this super cool like health experience, which was to me like a life-changing thing. I felt really well.
Give everyone a little idea as to what this health thing.
I became vegan.
Oh no!
Yes.
Veganator.
And it was all because of that What the Health film.
What the Health
on
film
Netflix
was freaking eye-opening. And
it was
if you
awesome.
Haven't seen it, guys, find it on YouTube, find it on Netflix. It's a movie that'll probably change your mind about a lot of things. But anyway, so now you're in a
definitely
healthy
changed.
thing. You're finally saying, okay, Ronnie, I get this. I got kids, but I still have to take care of me, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I was having crazy anxiety towards dying or being fearful of cancer or whatever.
Yeah.
And I feel like this made me feel so much better, and my anxiety just kind of went away the more healthy I ate.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But I started juicing and then went on a juice fast.
Yeah.
So this juice fast was like the best that I had ever felt. I was doing really well and being such a good mom to my 2 little girls.
Yeah.
And Sadiq decided to break my juicer.
Huh.
After maybe like 2 weeks of breaking cell phones, vacuum, my door. He broke my door off my room. I mean, that's gone. Punching holes in walls. But the juicer, that topped it.
Yeah.
I had enough.
Uh-huh.
Smashed it on the floor, and I packed all my stuff and moved in with my mom.
Yep.
And that was just like, that was it. And I didn't go back. So I haven't lived there since then.
Yep. Folks, it's going to get juicier.
But
yeah, laugh through the pain. But go ahead. Go ahead.
Here I am laughing because it's kind of funny, but also I'm just sad. Like, it's sad. I try not to cry.
Of course.
I'll eventually cry, but not yet.
Yep.
I hold it in because of all the abuse that I've had or felt like I've dealt with. I've just kind of put a wall up, and this is my coping mechanism.
Absolutely. She's got some good terms in there. If you haven't heard them. So go ahead. So continue on. Now we're past the juice thing, and now you're living in with your mom. Then what happens?
I was a free spirit, and
yeah.
Let's go before before that. Free spirit, having the time of my life with my 2 little girls by myself. Yep. We were going out and being able to do things that I felt like I couldn't do for a while because I felt trapped maybe.
Yep.
And I couldn't do things without asking or causing a fight. Couldn't see my friends, whatever. And so there were times where I would bring the kids over, say hi and visit.
Yep.
Because I would never take them away from him no matter what we're dealing with. And then this surprise happened.
Ooh, what are we talking about?
I wonder what it is.
Surprise, you're pregnant again.
Yeah, I got a job, and when I was going to work one day, I just thought like, oh, where's my period? It's not here yet.
Yep.
I'm going to go get a Bash's pregnancy test and go to work.
Yep.
Took it in the bathroom at work, actually, and those 2 little lines popped up. And obviously my heart was racing and cried.
Well, so, all right. So you're doing this test. You're in the middle of it, praying, say, please don't, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. Please don't
be pregnant.
As soon as you see that stick and the magic 2 lines, how did you feel? Not worry about the external. How did you, Ronnie, feel?
Panic.
Why?
Scared.
Why?
I didn't know how to do 3 kids by myself.
Because how good were you doing 2 kids?
It was hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved it.
Yeah.
More than 3, but
so far. Don't be.
I had my moments with my 2. Like, it was obviously hard, but when I compare it to 3, I'm just like,
it's real
whoa.
Simple. It's simple math.
2 was so much easier.
One can be hard. 2 can be harder. 3 is harder.
Yeah.
So yeah, you compounded.
And to some moms, it can be simple. I mean, it's just, everybody is different. Everybody takes it different. When you have more anxiety or stress like me, it's a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Because my mind is all over the place instead of more focused on being calm and in the moment.
Okay. Here you go, listeners. How many of you are seeing that similar path? Ronnie, I think, might think that she has this thing that's not common. She may not know enough people that are going through those same anxieties, knowing that their path is insanely difficult, knowing that you're struggling. and that you have one child, 5 children, it doesn't matter, you're all alone, that's another piece of the puzzle. You know, if you don't have kids and you've been through a tough relationship and now you're in that, quote, alone state, that's just as traumatic as being with 3 kids and not having a clue as to how to raise them. Or you're doing your best and you're doubting your own abilities. Mm-hmm. Remember, we said this at the beginning. What was your thing? You wanted to have that movie kind of family, but you don't. You have a reality. You want to have that happy medium would be a great start. I mean, here you are, and other people that are just listening to you saying, damn, I've been down the exact same road. My brain goes everywhere. Why? Because it does. Because we haven't figured out how to slow it down first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now here we go.
That's where I struggle.
Number three's coming.
Okay.
How did the relationship go?
I mean, it was still kind of just the same. Like, I would just go
it was a rocky road.
Visit, go take the kids.
Noise.
With my big old belly, waddling around, showing up. Hey, here you go. Here's Melody.
Yep. So
see you in 2 days.
Did you think he was feeling like you were tossing them on him? Like your girls or Melody or whatever? Or did you think he knew you're pregnant, you need a break?
No. I don't feel like necessarily that he wanted to help me. Okay. I don't feel like that. I feel like he loves Melody, and he's been close with Melody since he came back from California. Before Alina. But when I was pregnant with Alina is when him and Melody got super close because...
Right, you needed him to watch her.
And I was working a lot, and we switched off, and he got to be able to have that bond with her.
Right.
Him and Melody have always been super, like, daddy's girl.
Tight.
Yeah, super tight. And so whenever I'd ask, will you watch Melody? It's always, of course. Like, he loves spending time with her. But if I were to say, hey, can you maybe watch Alina too? It's like, why? Where are you going to go? You going to go do something for yourself? Oh, God, no. You can't do that. You take her.
Right. Here she is pregnant.
Yeah.
Big old belly. Like she's going to go somewhere and do something
yeah,
crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's exactly what I would say. What am I going to do? I'm pregnant. Yeah. That's not going to stop you.
So here comes Cassian.
Here comes Cassian. So I have Cassian with my mom again.
Yep.
This time I let my mom cut the cord. That was cool.
Yep.
Yeah, she cut his cord. Her second grandson. It's awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was the best labor, by the way. Let me say. The best labor and delivery experience I've had out of all of them.
Simple. So real quick, without going too far off topic, how long for Melody? How long did it take? For Melody for you to give birth to Melody?
That was 6 hours.
Okay. How about Alina?
Alina, I think, was 8 hours.
Okay. And then Cassian?
Cassian was, oh my gosh, I don't even know.
Was it like an hour and a half or something?
It was like, I went in at 6. We did Pitocin, but I didn't get contractions until maybe 11.
Yeah.
I had him at like 12 something.
Yeah.
So it was quick. And I also did not get the epidural, which was so much more empowering, I feel like, to me, that I could do it by myself and let my body just do what it's supposed to do.
Yep.
And I also could feel everything, which was great for me to push. And afterwards, the healing process is amazing compared to epidural.
Yep.
Couldn't feel anything.
Funny thing about that stuff, huh? You put something in your body that doesn't belong there. It's going to take your body a little bit longer to figure out when giving birth is actually more of a natural thing. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Good lesson learned.
It was awesome.
Right? Folks, it's painful. I don't know, but I've seen enough of them. I got to experience my ex-wife with our 2 kids, and I got to give birth to my 2 kids and watch that process. And I heard Ronnie from a distance with Alina. So
a lot of pain.
I know there's a level of pain, but to be able to finally just say, you know what, I don't want that little piece that takes the edge off, and to actually find out that you did better through all of it.
Yeah.
And the after effects. That's really cool. That's really impressive.
I think that's the one of the most things that I'm proud of.
There you go.
Giving birth without an epidural.
Nice. Okay. So now we go back into the story. How's it going? Cassian's out. Where does it go from there with you and Cassian's father? And folks, I'm going to say this right now because we're all about opening up and being honest. Ronnie has chosen not to be with anybody else. So there's nobody else involved. So this man, who is the father of her children, is the only father of her children. So this is pretty interesting to hear his emotional struggle with what's happening. So there's something deeper in that man that's making him put hate and discord onto you and for you to return it when knowing full well he's the father of your kids.
Yeah.
So that's pretty tough. So for some of you that might have multiple kids from multiple men, yeah. But to have the same father for all your kids and the father not want to be the father, that's another tough emotional struggle that requires some healing and to get past and to get through and learn to cope with. Because you're carrying all that with you through these days, even though it doesn't seem it, right?
I told myself I wasn't going to cry.
That's okay. It's okay. Crying is a natural piece that has to happen because it allows us to let some things go.
Yeah. Like knowing that you haven't done anything wrong when you're committed and faithful to someone who isn't committed and faithful to you.
Yep.
And even throughout the breaks or whatever you want to call them or me moving out, still being committed and faithful to you.
Yeah.
Even though you're a jerk. It's like that fear maybe still in your head of like, you don't want to be that type of woman because he's made it into your head that that type of woman is bad or wrong.
Right.
Like, respect your body or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, ugh.
It's okay if you do. It's just you and me.
I don't know. It just sucks to have someone tell you that's not my kid.
Yeah.
And then you know for a fact that it is.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating because you, like, what other way can you prove it besides tell them, get your DNA test?
You're right, or the DNA or the blood test kind of thing, and just say, look, man, there's the facts. I don't know what else to do.
And for him to be like, no, I don't need to get a DNA. They're not mine. Like, but you won't know until you do it.
That's
and
right.
I know for a fact that he is because I've been faithful even to someone like I'm not with.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, it's not crazy. It's what you believe in.
Yeah.
It's your belief is that you don't want to have 7, 8, 10, 12 guys being part of you. And he's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Cassian is born. The same kind of things are rolling through.
Yeah.
So here we are going on 5 months.
5 months.
Almost 6 months.
He will
right?
be 6 months on the 2nd of
So we're only a couple of weeks away
December.
from 6 months, right?
How crazy.
Right. So now I'm digging because that's what I do. That's my job for you today is I'm going to dig. So here we are. How's your relationship now?
Confusing.
Yeah, you're going to have to do better than that.
I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's all that great.
Right.
I feel like there's a lot of bad moments
Yeah.
compared to good. We still don't get along with parenting.
Yeah.
I'm still taking care of the kids by myself.
Yeah.
I still, take them over there to see him.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like more of I wouldn't even say maybe friendship.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If
We get
you got
along
that
better.
good. Yeah, there you go.
More as friends
Yeah.
and being apart
Yeah.
than we ever did being together or living together. Once I moved out, things got like a weight was lifted off my shoulders.
Yeah. And probably his too.
Yeah, because
For sure.
us together, I mean, he has his things about me
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I know that I made times hard. Like,
Yeah. So I'll just throw this in because I can. It's my podcast essentially. So, so I have 2 kids with my ex-wife. My second ex-wife, we had 2 kids. And right when my sons were about 7 and 4, I had to make this similar decision to get out of that situation because the volatility being there with that other person, I didn't have the healing skills. I didn't have the coping skills. I didn't know what parenting was like. I thought we were supposed to be on the same page doing everything, but we didn't. And it was too dark and ugly. And yes, things were thrown. Yes, names were called. Yeah, all that ugly stuff that you experienced, I got to experience it too, but I had to leave it. I had to leave without my kids. So I had to actually take myself away from that because I knew it was only going to get worse.
mm-hmm.
So for you to be able to separate yourself from that connection, knowing full well now that all of a sudden, by not being in each other's space, you guys are actually able to communicate better. Not great, not movie, but somewhere maybe in the middle, maybe on the lower middle, right?
Definitely on the lower middle, but
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's gotten better
Yep.
to an extent. Obviously, there are days where,
To the extent that it's gotten better is better.
yeah, it's better regardless.
Yeah.
Which is great for me and the kids because the kids don't have to hear us fighting.
Yep.
And when when I do take them over there and we get into maybe a fight,
Mhm.
it's like leading there.
Yep.
I'll just remove myself right away.
Yep.
Not like in the fight or flight mode, but more of like,
it's time to
we
go.
don't deserve
it's
this.
Not gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it's like it doesn't end.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll just keep going round and round and round.
The cycle, the repetitive cycle of you said, I said, we said, you said, and you are, and
nowhere.
I am, and you, there's no need for it.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is, whether you know it or not, you've been growing in an avenue, not as great as it could be, but dang it, you're accomplishing stuff. You and him.
And I feel and I was just going to say, and I feel like he has too. He's grown a lot.
And that's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes that whole separation has to happen. Yeah, so now here we are trying to go through a separation.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Now when I go over there, I don't want to be over there. Now when I go over there, I don't want to talk. I don't want to...
You want it to be as cordial as possible.
Yes.
Get it over. I got to go. You do your thing with them. I do my thing.
And then there are the days where I just feel bad. Like I feel like I'm responsible for his loneliness.
Take it on. There you go.
And because obviously I've been told that. I don't know. That's just me though. I just feel bad. Like I don't want someone to feel lonely, and I don't want someone to feel like they have no one, especially because I wanted this.
But the point is that he's always had someone, not just you. He's always found something.
Yeah.
Right? His loneliness is your interpretation of where he's at.
Yeah, he was lonely when we were together.
Yeah, that's right. He was lonely when you were together. So that's somebody that needs to heal through what he's got to do.
Yeah.
Your job is not to heal through him. Your job is to heal through you. Your job is to make sure that you're okay. You cannot do anything about where he is or how he is or what he does or how he behaves. All you can do is make sure that you get to see change and you experience change. Because when you start changing like you did just naturally by being able to separate yourself from him and so that you're not arguing as much, but you're still in it, right? You're still in it because that's your heart. I can't leave this man.
Sometimes I feel like I'm selfish. Like if I'm happy or have like a better life than he does, I feel like sad about it.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to dig into that too. You'll be amazed at where that comes from.
That's like a big feeling that I have though. It's like probably a daily thing.
Yeah. It's guilt.
Yeah.
It's like you've created something, yet all you did was try to do the best you can. Yes, you've caused some of the problems. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. We all do. My marriage with my ex-wife was not all her doing to get us divorced. It was my inability to cope and understand what's going on. So my behaviors, my actions were what I did. I take responsibility for everything that I did that destroyed that marriage as well, because that's the truth behind it. The truth behind your relationship is you are volatile together. The truth deeper is that you guys actually freaking love each other, but you just don't want to show it the way that the movies show it, because I don't think either of you believe you deserve it. I don't think either of you could actually look and see that movie and say, wow, we should be there, because you'll say, that's just a movie. There's no way.
Not reality.
That's right. But you know what? It can be reality. If you desire something bad enough, you will make changes in your life so that that movie becomes Roni and family. Mm-hmm. But you have to dig through all the crap to find the path to get to that movie, right? So his pain is just that. It's his pain. You're not in a position where you're supposed to take on his pain. You can empathize with him and say, dang, I know where that is, man. But you can't guilt yourself into someone else's emotions. It isn't yours to hold. You got enough on your own. You got enough on your own to just focus on you. Because if you get to change, all the people around you, including him, will see that change, and it will be an attractive, not like couples hooking up. It'll be an attractive trait, an attractive person. You get to bring the beauty of your heart out, not the beauty of your face, not the beauty of your arms, not the beauty of your feet. The beauty of your heart will come out, and people will see that as awesome. But you can't own his emotions in the process. That's part of not detaching, but becoming non-attached to the person that you're involved with. Mm-hmm. There's a difference that we're going to get to in a lot of podcasts. I mean, guys, this is just quote-unquote tip of the iceberg, whatever kind of cliche you want to hear.
Haven't cracked the eggshell yet.
We haven't even touched the egg. So we're only imagining a chicken or a hen laying an egg right now. We're not even seeing an egg. So there's a lot that's going to be coming from these podcasts, and it's going to be exciting to dig into it a little deeper. So all I wanted to do when I asked you that question at the very beginning, say, hey, Roni, introduce yourself and tell everybody about yourself. You just did. You just told everybody about yourself. People are going to listen to this and they're going to be saying, holy crap. Or they're going to be saying, yep, been there, done that. I know exactly what you're going through.
Like I'm not alone.
Exactly. And we all are not alone. We just want to believe that we are. And that's a big part of this cognitive awareness with a touch of God thing that I've been doing. And that we're going to go through.
I'm seeing this now, Bear.
You're now catching it?
Catching
You're starting
on.
to see the connections? Love it.
I'm just like, is my life that hard? Because then I see my other friends with their kids and it doesn't seem as chaotic. In my life, I'm like, oh my gosh, but maybe I'm just putting that in my head.
You're piling it into your brain. You're using your...
Like, oh, everybody says like, oh, the more kids you have, the more chaotic it gets. I'm just like, maybe that's been said to me a few times more than it should have been.
And you believe it.
And now I believe it.
Right.
I believe it's supposed to be chaotic because I have 3 kids.
Because guess what? I'm pretty sure you probably have seen one of those reality shows with a family
or like
of
the movies.
5, 8, 10 kids, right?
Yeah.
And do they appear to be happy? They have their ups and downs.
I mean, yeah.
But, 8, 10 kids, and they can still be happy?
Mm-hmm.
What does that tell you? That tells you has nothing to do with how many kids you have. It tells you that it's all about your heart and your ability to make happiness. Not to struggle, not to stay in negative areas and always keep thinking the negative out of a situation. It's to be able to look at stuff and be able to go, okay, I know it's going to be tough, but dang it, I'm coming through. I'm going to come through it in a healthier way. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to try to do with you in these podcasts. And these people are going to get to listen to it. And they'll get to maybe catch on and learn something too. So I'm excited about it.
Me too.
So this is a real long first episode, but that's usually the case. People got to start to get an understanding of who you are.
But you can also edit.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see. We got negotiations
Please.
to do. We got some negotiations to work through here. But anyway, so I'm going to end it right there because that's just a hell of a great start. I'm impressed the fact that you've stayed here and actually did this and that you gave in for a little moment to cry just a second.
Maybe twice, maybe 3 times.
That's all right. We're going to get there and we'll probably bring out more. But folks, I want to thank you all for listening in. I hope you can feel this. I hope you can feel the anxiety, the energy, the positivity, the happiness, the silliness, the giddiness.
Some emotions underneath the laugh.
The masking, the BS, all of it. But I hope you can get something out of this because we're going to just start crushing this topic after topic, podcast after podcast. I don't know when the next one's going to be, but it's going to be pretty soon. And we're going to just see if we can't just attack these things and break it apart and get a happy, healthy Roni and her 3 beautiful kids to enjoy a happy, healthy Roni. Because it's about Roni.
Yes.
So we're going to say goodbye. So say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you, folks. God bless you all. And thank you for taking the time to listen in. And we look forward to having you as guests on our future podcast.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I just want to add that everything that Roni and I record on this podcast has supporting podcast episodes. It contains more general information that can be found on my Cognitive Awareness with a Touch of God podcast series. Just look it up on your favorite podcast app and search either Cognitive Awareness with a Touch of God or Bear and Laura Lee, spelled B-E-A-R, the letter N as in Nancy, and L-O-R-A-L-E-E. Or you can look up both. Now, we have 6 other podcast series that cover not only Roni On The Run and the Cognitive Awareness podcast, but also a Path to Recovery podcast, My Awakening podcast, Bear Clan's Hiking Sedona podcast, and a Star Wars The Bear Awakens podcast, just in case you're looking for additional information and maybe some really bizarre things that you've never considered. So thank you very much again. We hope to hear from you on the next podcast.